What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Autotempest.com. Listen, if you're looking for a car, there could be any number of reasons you're looking for a car. Either you actually want to buy a car, maybe you're looking to sell your car and you want to see what it's worth, maybe you just want to see what the market's doing, maybe you got spare time and you're just browsing around. Here's why you should use Autotempest.com, because it combines all of the other sites into one place. All those annoying, different, sort of little mid-level cars for sale sites, all those can be combined into one search with Autotempest.com. Even people who don't really have very many things going on, doesn't mean you want to do the same thing over and over again. You don't want to retype those search terms into a million different sites. You just go to one place, Autotempest.com, and they do it all for you. They look all over the internet and combine all those search results with the best of Facebook Marketplace, the best of Craigslist nationally, and the best of eBay Motors. That's where you're going to find your stuff, guys. Autotempest.com, it saves you time, it saves you money, it brings the whole world of used cars into one web page. Check it out, folks, at Autotempest.com. We're also brought to you by Crown & Caliber. Crown & Caliber is the #1 place online to buy a second-hand luxury watch. They have the best selection: Rolex, Omega, Breitling, Blancpain, Panerai, AP, you name it. They're always rotating through stuff. They're always buying, they're always selling, so you always want to keep checking back that new arrivals tab, see what's going on. I have my eye on something very special right now, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because one of you guys is going to buy it before I can. I've got two things for you to tell you about Crown & Caliber. One, they are giving away a Rolex Submariner. The Rolex Submariner is pretty much a staple of any major watch collection. If you've got a collection, odds are you either have or want a Rolex Submariner. They're giving one away for free, folks. CrownandCaliber.com/TST. No purchase necessary. Just go to CrownandCaliber.com/TST. Fill out the form. You're entered to win a Rolex Submariner. That's thing one. Thing two, you're going to buy a watch from Crown & Caliber. You're going to want this code. Write it down. TST175. Code TST175. That's going to get you $175 off your first watch purchase at CrownandCaliber.com. TST175. All right, folks, on this episode of the podcast, motoring journalist Alex Goy from the UK. He's in studio. Not Alex Roy, Alex Goy. You change one letter. He's also bald. He also writes about cars, and he also drives a Morgan three-wheeler. There must be something about the spelling of these names, folks, that brings them all together. But Alex Goy, I don't get to see him very often because he lives on the other side of the world, but he's always a treat to hang out with when we cross paths at events. I'm glad he has come to Los Angeles, and he's visiting us. It's Mr. Alex Goy on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
What's up, Alex Goy on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Hello, Vinny Russo.
Hello.
Oh boy, I need to adjust your microphone. Your there you go. Not your mic.
Jesus.
Your camera. What do we call that fucking thing? That's a camera. Hi, we're live. The internet says we're live. And so we are. You should follow along. Get yourself familiar with Alex Goy on that Instagram, A1 Goy. Your name is almost a racial slur.
Yeah.
It's also almost Alex Roy's name.
Yeah. So there's two things about that. I don't know much about my family in general, but we believe it comes from France. So that version of it isn't the version that people think it is. Isn't
if you were in France?
Yes.
How would it be pronounced?
I have
Is it
no idea.
or something like that?
Well, I imagine it'd just be Goy.
Well, like,
with
do you
a French
know
accent,
there's a hockey player, a Canadian hockey player whose goalie, his last name was spelled R-O-Y, and it's pronounced Wah.
Right, like
Patrick
Kingdom.
Wah. So I was wondering if you'd be like Gua or something.
I have no idea. But yeah, that's my name.
We can say it however you want us to. I mean, if you feel like changing it right now, is a good time if you want to.
You know what? I've had it for 33 years as is.
You're okay with it?
As a Jew, I just hear that word differently. I think I don't know. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh,
it's all
thank
fine.
God.
I have, you know what? I have. So A1 Goy is my license plate back home. My late father bought A1 and A2 Goy back in the 90s as a joke.
Oh, really?
And as a kid, it was just a bit tragic that our names were on cars.
Yeah.
And then after he died, it became my number plate, and that's why my Twitter handle, my Instagram handle, that's me.
Is it tattooed on your body somewhere?
No, it is not.
I'm surprised it isn't. It's the logical next step, honestly.
I should get it across my forehead.
It's the new thing. I just saw that
though.
article yesterday. Hot celebrity trend, face tattoos.
tattoos.
Like, yes, we're there.
The problem I've had though, well, not the problem is people have just given me funny looks in the street. Someone has stopped me and been like, "Have you got that on your what? What is that?" And I'm like, "It's my name. I'm really sorry." I'm like, oh no.
I got to give you credit though, because having it as your Instagram handle and everything else, at least it means something, as opposed to so many other people that have either just their name or some ridiculous thing that they've just made up for no reason. At least you've got a backstory for your Instagram handle and your online screen names.
It was the thing was when my old man died, like the only thing we really got on about was cars. That was it. We were not friendly with one another whatsoever. That's a little bit.
What happened to A2 Goy?
That was Mum's. So Dad had A1.
Yeah, okay.
Mum had A2. She's still got A2 on my old R53 Cooper S.
Oh, nice.
And A1 lives on my car.
Which is the Morgan three-wheeler?
The other
or your
car.
regular car? Do you have a regular car?
I have a practical car.
What's your practical car?
It's a 2012 Aston Martin V8 Vantage.
That's reasonably practical.
I live on my own in the middle of London. I live opposite a supermarket, so if I need to do a shop, I just walk over the road.
I mean, that makes sense. So you put very few miles on your actual practical car.
I've done about 10,000 since I bought it.
Okay. Over what time period?
About a year.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's a bunch.
Yeah.
That's a bunch.
Yeah, it was because when I went freelance, I needed a car. And I had a Lotus Elise and the Morgan three-wheeler. And the Elise, I loved it dearly.
You're so stereotypical British. It's like you don't just not have a regular car, you have the most impractical possible.
When your Aston Martin is more practical than your other car.
A V8 Vantage is not horribly impractical if you don't
coupe.
need a back seat. It's okay.
It's a good-sized coupe.
It fits a Pelican-ish.
But I don't need to. I don't have that. I just need like a squishy bag for a few nights away, and I'm fine.
It is a fantastic car, though.
Those things are
lovely.
fucking cheap right now here.
Yes,
if you just buy one and start driving it and treat it like a whatever car, is it fine?
So far, mechanically, it's been fine.
Okay. In what way has it not been fine?
I had a bit of an issue when I had it serviced and MOT'd over December. In that I asked them to do some stuff and they just didn't do it. Plus, it's
that's an issue with a dealer or a service center
with the dealer. It's now being fixed. Like I wrote a thing about it for DriveTribe because I'm running it as a long term for them. I didn't tag the dealer in it. I didn't tag Aston Martin in it. And then the next thing you know, over 100,000 people have read it, and I get a phone call from Aston Martin Mayfair going, "We're really sorry."
Oh, you got a nice phone call.
Oh, I got a nice phone call.
That's good.
I was stealing myself for one or the other.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like, am I going to get the phone call saying you're lying, but I can demonstrably prove that's not true, or am I going to get the "we're really sorry"? And I got that one.
Well, yeah. I mean, you said you didn't throw a specific dealer under the bus, right?
No. Well, I named the dealer chain.
Oh, okay.
Because it was
their fault.
Because they did it wrong.
Yeah. I've had issues with Aston Martin.
Yeah?
Yeah, a few. The manual swap thing, as much as I like the car, the entire process was extremely expensive.
Yeah.
I probably could have bought a V8 Vantage, frankly, with a stick. And the entire time, I mean, that's fine. They didn't. I knew how much it was. It's fine, but the entire time, start to finish, they pretty much treated me like they were doing me a massive favor.
Oh.
Like, not like I was buying some extraordinarily boutique service from an already extraordinarily boutique car manufacturer.
It's like, well, all right, so we've got your car. We'll get around to it. Now you wait for us. Was it that kind of thing?
It kind of. At first, it was that, and then when I got it, the shift feel like just wasn't quite right, and they were just kind of like, yeah, that's just how it is, and I was like, I don't think that's how it's gonna be, and they had to send somebody over to
tweak it,
and they made it right, but it was. It was not seamless, but still, like, V8 Vantages are floating around, and they're under $50,000 US for a pretty decent one, with some miles on it,
Even
driver
an S.
quality, even an S, And
what I was looking for, because I had to replace the Elise because I needed to do thousands of miles doing freelance jobs. Because
you had more than a shoebox you needed to move around.
Yeah, just occasionally. So the short list was either an old RS4, because I'm an Audi guy. Cool. I love me a fast Audi. An F-Type of some description, because I adore that car. Cool. But leaning towards the R, the rear drive R that I don't think you guys got over here, that is just insanity on wheels. A 997.2 Carrera S. Also nice. Or Advantage. And I was recording some voiceover at Carfection, and Drew, I was talking to him and said, he's really selling the Elise? Yeah. It's like, what are you thinking? I gave him the list and he went, you're going to buy a 911? You cliche. And I was like, That's like motoring journalist buys new 911 shocker. Like,
I mean, would you buy the Aston Martin again, having experienced the ownership up to this point?
Yeah, man.
You would buy it again.
Yeah, it's the only thing that I find staggering about it is how they managed to get such bad fuel economy out of it. It's like this. It's like a
380 horsepower small V8. It gets like 10. What are you doing?
Because the 4.3, they said, it'll do 21.2 miles to the gallon. If you get the 4.7, which has the stupid key, which is one of the reasons I bought it, because it's got the
glass key.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
Instead
it.
of the Volvo key.
Instead of the Volvo key, you go. Look at this, and you press the button, and everything lights up. And makes
have you dropped the glass key yet?
No, but I am aware of how much it costs if you have to replace it.
I dropped the press car one. Ooh. I dropped it for the Rapide. I dropped it inside of a leather pouch.
Did it just go?
It didn't shatter, but it did chip.
Oh, mine's chipped to bugger. It's not perfect.
Like an actual chunk came off it, chipped. I mean, and they were very nice about it. Honestly, like they weren't as mad as I expected. They did tell me how much that it would cost to replace.
It's many thousands, isn't it?
It was $3,700 US, and it was not the most expensive key. There's two levels of key. There's a crystal key, which is the one I broke. Yeah. And then there's one that's made of like actual
adamantium.
Yeah, whatever the fuck. It's whatever the fuck it's made of. Yeah. And it was like 7 or something.
Ridiculous. I don't have that.
It's like those cell phones that they made that were like the Vertus or whatever.
Yeah, do you remember them? There was a showroom of theirs on Bond Street. I was walking down to some event or something, and that morning I'd read that Virtue was in trouble, and just their massive showroom on glamorous Bond Street, and there was just a sign being put in the window saying closing down.
Oh no. Well, there's like people doing there's like fashionable like iPhones, like they engrave them, they do crazy. I'm not buying that dumb shit, but there's people that do. People waste money on all kinds of things. But some people do it like I hate on Kanye a lot, but he reportedly just bought 20 Sherps, and I can't hate on that. And do you know what a Sherp is?
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm so about Sherps. You don't know about...
what is he going to do with 20
The Sherp is this sort of Russian thing that I drove, and you can drive them in water, and you can drive them anywhere and over through anything. Okay. And Kanye put one in his like most recent video, because I guess he bought some kind of ranch in North Dakota or something. And so he got Sherps, and he got like a bunch of them and was driving them around Chicago. Fucking look at this, like Nino Brown. He's driving around Chicago.
That's insane.
First off, it looks like he's doing a hostile military takeover.
I mean,
second of all, how weenie looking is the Jeep Renegade next to a Sherp?
The thing is, in LA, you've got Elon driving around in the cyber wedge,
right.
And then you've got Kanye driving around Chicago in a military vehicle, in a fleet of military vehicles,
fleet of Sherps, dude. Oh, media could be. So I hate on Kanye a lot. I think he's a moron, but he has bought 20 Sherps.
I have a pretty strong opinion on Kanye, but I'm going to give him a little bit of props on that one.
On a dozen Sherps?
Yeah,
yes.
A dozen Sherps driving through downtown Chicago. I will give him some credit on that.
This is actually a still from the I don't know if you can play the video, but this is a fucking still in the Follow God video, and it looks awesome. Wait, god damn it! It's just looks like in the middle of a snowy field.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, okay.
You should find a way to drive one. Those things you can The dealer is in America, is in Bemidji, Minnesota.
I mean, that sounds like somewhere from Dungeons and Dragons. You are aware?
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty close.
But you can drive one for like one of your many outlets.
Yeah.
And they're only $120,000.
Is that all?
Yeah.
What a bargain! And it can
I mean,
go,
that is a bargain.
It can go literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can go in water. It can go up. It can drive up a 3-foot Jersey barrier. It could do anything.
I would like to go to there.
You can. Bemidji. It's where it's all at.
Yeah, you go to Minneapolis and 3 hours north.
Yeah, it's so far in the middle of nowhere.
It was so far, and they got so bored. They were like, "Hey, what should we do today? Let's make a vehicle that can go anywhere."
Anywhere. Look, you can go into an icy like lake and then just drive right out of it. It's the coolest.
Is it like watertight?
Yeah.
Oh, so
watertight? No, not like a submarine.
No,
like it is. It's water. It's like
if you drive through like a bit of a puddle, are your feet gonna get wet?
No. If you drive it straight off of an ice shelf into a frozen lake, water will splash up the windshield. And will not come inside.
Okay, okay.
It's fully amphibious.
I want to be as bored as the person was who went. You know what? I'm going to design this
Russia,
video.
Drunk, not bored, drunk. And I've been talking about this. People are probably sick of me hearing about this because I've been talking about it probably the last 4 shows. But they just came out with something called the Sherp Arc, which is
this when you absolutely must move a village across?
This is a 10 by 10. All of these wheels are driven.
Yeah.
And you drive it from the cab in the front, but there's all these configurations for the back. And look at this bad motherfucker.
It looks like
look at the articulation.
There's a military vehicle back home called a Hagland, which is a similar concept.
Hagland?
Except because it's British, it is in no way waterproof, I imagine.
No. Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Look at this. A Hagland.
I've driven one of those.
Oh, it's like a little train with like tank treads. What a charming vehicle. This is a vehicle that I can picture miniaturized on a bunch of nerds' train sets. Hyper
or an RC car.
Yeah.
I would definitely have
it's
a little
so
remote
cute,
control
though.
car.
So it's that your Arc is that, but probably better.
I mean the Arc is you can drive. This is an Antarctica type of deal with the tank treads. It's really got a charming face.
It's like a bug-eyed sprite.
Yeah.
It's got that happy kind of.
Yeah.
Next time you're in the UK, I know where there is one.
It's charming in the way that like a Mercedes panel van is charming. You know, it's got kind of that sort of friendly flat face.
It's not angry in any way.
No.
It doesn't look aggressive at all.
It's really happy to get you wherever you want to go.
It'll water your plants while you're away and leave you a pint of milk for when you get home.
Exactly.
It's just a charming little happy thing.
It is.
That is the golden retriever of off-road vehicles.
Hagland. It's even got a great name.
The golden retriever of off-road vehicles is the mighty Suzuki Jimny.
New one. The new one.
It is so confidently dreadful.
Why are we not getting that here?
It's emissions regs, I think, because I think they're stopping it for sale. It's in some bits of Europe because of emissions, because the motor, the size of the car.
Isn't it just out?
Yes, it came out what 18 months ago.
They're like we're gonna go hard at the paint for 18 months on this,
and then we can't sell anymore.
That's Suzuki for you.
It's such a cool thing, and you drive it down the road and you bounce everywhere, and it is like being in a miniaturized Land Rover Defender. Again, a genuinely dreadful but charming vehicle.
You think there's a guy in the board of directors going, "Can we just do motorcycles, guys, please, please? Just stick to what we know. Stop it."
But I got out of it. I was judging for UK Car of the Year,
nice.
And we had a big lineup of cars, and I was like, I am here to drive the Jimny and the Alpine A110.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice.
These are the two things I need to drive.
Yeah.
And I got in the Jimny, and it was around when I was looking for a new car, and so I drove it down the road. We're based up at Caffeine and Machine, great place.
Caffeine and Machine in the UK. That place rules. Let me get them.
It is
go ahead.
amazing. And so we based up there, and I drove it down the road and found a bit of road I knew, played a bit, and I was like, this is awful, but I really like it. I got back and I found the PR chap, and I went, how much? Like now?
Yeah, right now.
Like if
this
I were
one,
to
like
give
if
you,
I just
if I were to give you money, can I have one of those like now? Sadly, the one they had was blue. I like the highlighter yellow one.
The yellow's
because that
good.
is,
Yeah.
You know, you want one of those. You want to drive it around central London, and everyone will know you're only a little bit of a dick. You're not like the people in G-wagons who drive.
No.
You drive at 1,000,000 miles an hour through Knightsbridge, and because that's basically you advertising to everyone that you've got an innie.
The Venn diagrams of G-Wagon owners and nice people don't intersect.
No.
It's two circles.
It's like those people are genuinely dreadful most of the time. I'm sure there are some of you out there who are lovely.
Soft top 2-door G-Wagon owners are probably cool at this point.
There's one for sale in Venice. I passed it. It's parked in
Is
front
it?
of a guy's
Probably
house.
wants all the money.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Got off-road wheels.
Doug's
on
not.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
Doug
I was
has
just
one of those.
thinking, does
Yeah,
Doug have
now,
one of those?
yeah, he does. But now, like, because that's a real nerd car now. You don't. Shitbags are not going to spend extra for the soft top.
Old G-wagons, even though I hate them, cool.
Yes.
New G65, 63s, whatever, driving through town in first gear going, look at how tiny my penis is.
Burble too.
Yeah. But then it's like you're still a little bit of a dick because you're driving an SUV in town, but it's a Jimny, so you kind of want to hug it.
Yeah.
I was in Italy last summer and I saw so many of them. They are fucking selling like hotcakes over there.
Oh yeah, there's So I heard a rumor that the selection on the UK press fleet, they're not selling for 2 years because they can't get them in. They're sold so fast.
So they have to keep the press cars for longer? They're going to be so fucked by the end of it. I mean, I admittedly, when I saw these things cruising around Europe, I was like, they are very charming looking.
They're so cool.
But there's no way that's good to drive. There's just no way.
I mean,
well, it's no different than a Wrangler.
No.
I mean, the Wranglers aren't good to drive either. Wranglers are terrible, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
It's not brilliant, really. I'm not going to lie. It's not amazing.
But that's not why you buy that.
No. Well, the thing is, you buy that if you have farm tracks to drive down, or you like green laning, or you live anywhere near mud. If you live in the middle of a city and buy one of those, you just buy it because you want a car you can hug.
Yeah.
It has. I like this, like, you know, kind of. I like for the city, small footprint, boxy. Like my wife, she likes boxy cars. She lost her shit when she's like, "That, get me that. I want that." I'm like, baby, you can't have that, but you can have a Delica, which is basically the same thing.
Well, there's like one in the US. They had one over here for World Car of the Year last year. I don't know if it's still here, but it was on California plates.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be shocking if somebody imported one. Here's the one I like: is this blue.
Yeah.
That's the one I drove.
That's
the color I drove.
That's the wrong. Well, it's the wrong size, folks. But you understand when it's the scale. Actually, the photo I put up is totally to scale of the Jimny relative to a regular car. If you're just listening to the audio stream, it's basically
They
the
sell
size
them
of a
in
postage
pairs.
stamp.
They sell them in pairs. You get a left and a right, one for each foot. And
They are.
Vinny, do you think your Suzuki motorcycle weighs more and has more or less horsepower than?
it definitely has way more horsepower.
What engine is in this thing, Alex? I don't even know.
I think it's
look.
a 1.5
Yeah.
petrol. I think
1.5.
Yeah.
What's your bike? 1.8.
1.8.
Yeah, it's
1800 cc's.
1.5 liters of fury.
Yeah.
I think you'll find.
Twin 1800
Vinny
cc
has a
twin.
ginormous motorcycle. Does anyone out there want a ginormous motorcycle?
It's gonna be up
because
for sale.
Vinny does.
What's it called, Vin?
The M109R.
That sounds like an assault rifle.
Yeah, it's.
It
the
really
point.
does
Yeah.
sound like a gun, doesn't it?
They call it a Boulevard, but that's like kind of that's Suzuki's cruiser line is called the Boulevards, but the M109 is the big 1800 cc. So that's basically it. That has the largest pistons of any production motor available, and it's a V-twin 1800 cc. It's as fast in a straight line as a 1000 cc sport bike, but it's a cruiser.
So you can cruise at 200 miles an hour. Is that the idea?
Well, you start to hit wind at about 100. You really can't go past 100 on it because there's no windscreen on it. It's just a big cruiser with like.
When you start, here it is. It's this one.
Yeah, there you go.
When you start it, it goes bop, 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 bop,
Yeah.
bop, bop, bop.
Proper
It literally idles 1 RPM at a time. It's like
it's Harley-ish, but it's shaft driven and it's fuel injected and it's got all the bells and
it's
whistles.
not dreadful.
It's not dreadful.
and
No.
it's really nice, and someone should give Vinny $7,500 for it right now, so he can buy a fucking appropriately sized motorcycle for Los Angeles. The 300, dude. It's the Vespa 300 is where it's at.
I don't know. I like the dual sports. I really want a Diavel. I want the Ducati.
The Diavel, yeah. Alonzo
DFL.
Bowden was up in here the other day talking about his Diavel. He really
Really?
likes it. Yeah, I mean, it is smaller than that.
It is.
And lighter. Are you motorcycles? Alex?
I learnt to ride one when I was 21 for a feature for my local newspaper while I was an intern, and we did like 5 weeks, learnt real fast, passed the test, and then the local Harley dealer said, you have a motorcycle correspondent now, and there's me, 21, just like, yeah, I can ride anything, because in one lesson one of the teachers went, you're quite good at this, and I was like, basically I'm Rossi, so yeah, thanks. And I genuinely took it to heart. And then so the paper rang me and said, so Harley has offered a bike, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'm the best in the world. It was a 1300 XL low at the time. Oh
full
mate,
dress.
It gets better. It gets better because I'm a small wiry man. I was smaller and wirier when I was 21, and I was also a Cub Scout leader. So naturally, I put my togs on, got my helmet on, took the big Harley round to Cubs, and all the kids were like, wow, this is amazing, this is the best thing ever. And then I waited for them all to leave, because just in case something happened. And of course, I then went to turn left, went straight over the road and hit a tree, and haven't ridden a motorcycle since.
Oh no, really?
I am. This summer, the lovely folk from Triumph are sending me to Wales to their off-road facility so I can fall off a lot and learn to ride a bike
bikes.
again.
Yeah.
Well, just learn to ride a bike again, because I still have a full bike license.
So funny. The word is, for those outside of the automotive industry, the word is non-endemic. The motorcycle industry is constantly looking for non-endemic outlets, meaning they want car people writing about motorcycle.
Yeah.
Motorcycle people only reach other motorcycle people, and they always want. So when they find out, when the press fleet guys find out that you got a motorcycle license, they always give you some fucking 800-pound bike as your first bike. They're like, I got one too. I was like, you took the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course? What you need is a week on a Moto Guzzi V7 bagger. Literally, I've been a license for 1 day. I'm like, I'm here.
I'm here.
That doesn't even fit in a compact parking spot.
It's ridiculous.
It was. I'm a little bit scared of motorcycling, but the thing is,
and you should be.
Because
that's why you're alive.
Anything can kill you. When I was doing, so we have the way you do it back home is you do CBT, and then you do your main test. So you have to do the CBT, and then you can ride with L plates on a 125. Sure. And
can I ask, what does CBT stand for?
I think it's compulsory basic training. I cannot remember.
Compulsory basic training. Yeah, okay.
But it's because you can do that when you're 16, because you can only get your car license when you're 17. So a bunch of kids at school were like, "Well, I want to get my CBT," and then ride around on a scooter for a year, because it lasts for 2 years before you've got to redo it. But the first half of the day is just all classroom, and so I was sat in this room full of very nervous people going, "Oh, this is all very exciting," and then this massive, sweaty, bearded man who was really lovely at the start just went, "Welcome to motorcycling. It's really exciting. It's really exciting. Anything can kill you." And it's like, okay. A child walking along the street can kick his ball into the road. You hit that ball, you die.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
But it's true. You have to. When I took my course, the instructor, the first thing he told us, he says, "There's a reason that you say that you're riding the bike, not driving the bike." And his explanation was that if you have to get into your head that you're a passenger like you would be on a horse, and at any time that horse, if he wants to, can buck you off no matter what you say. If you keep that mentality, he goes, the minute you think that you're owning that motorcycle, it's going to put you in check. Yeah. And you're gonna know. So as long as you keep it in your head, this is what he had told us, and it's for the most part worked. Since I've been, like I said, since I've been 16. So you keep it in your head. I'm riding the bike and I'm a passenger and I'm trying to respect it, and you don't die. Yeah. Or at least you less likely to die.
That's it, because I
still could die, but you're probably not going to.
No, I'm going in with a healthy fear of everything. The dark, gluten, lactose, and motorcycles. No, I'm looking forward to having another whirl at it, but we'll see.
I want to do one of those off-road things so bad, but I know those falls. I'm like, God, I really like walking, and I'm afraid if I fall enough on a BMW GS, I just won't be walking anymore.
Where possible, I'd quite like to keep my bones as one.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's unavoidable. Like,
I mean, you say that. Meanwhile, you have this Morgan three-wheeler. You've been driving around in this +4 thing.
I've been driving around America in a Morgan +4. Yes.
Which, can we talk about that?
We can. Yes.
I really like it. Do you have a picture on your gram?
I do. I've got thousands of pictures.
Here's a good one.
So I've been away from the UK since the 30th of January, and I first went to Australia, but then I knew on the other end I was flying to LA to pick up a Morgan Plus 4. I asked if it had a luggage rack, and the lovely people from Morgan said no, which meant I could only travel hand luggage.
Oh,
so
wow.
I've got like 6 days.
And did you do a full lap? Is it a full lap of the world? Or are you going?
I am,
are you
yeah.
bouncing back? It's a full lap, right?
I'm going back to London from here tomorrow. So yeah, I've gone all the way.
You've
around.
gone all the way around.
Well, I was halfway around. I figured I may as well just keep going. But yeah, so I knew I would be in this. So I've only travelled hand baggage.
So it's the Plus 4
Yes.
you're driving, which is
Plus 4.
the kind of old school looking body. It has 4 wheels, which is something you actually have to specify
For
with
me,
Morgan. Number of wheels? 3, 4.
Four good. 4.
I'll have all 4. Yes, thank
I'll
you.
have all 4. Thank you so much. No, I am. I've driven 4-wheeled Morgans before, like Aero coupes and stuff like that, and I adored them. I'd not spent a large amount of time in a 4-wheeled one, and the guys they told me they've got one in the States. So I was like, well, I fancy an adventure. Let's go on an adventure. So it's a 2-litre Ford motor. That's a Lotus.
That's a Lotus.
That's a Lotus at Bathurst, which is what I was doing 2 weeks ago. And yeah, so 2-litre Ford motor, 150, 160, 70 horsepower, something like that. Rear drive, 5-speed, Mazda gearbox, so amazing shift on it. Weighs
the
less
same
than,
gearbox as the 3-wheeler, isn't it?
Yes,
basically?
indeed.
Yeah.
Weighs less than a ton. I'm not sure what that is in pounds.
2,000 pounds.
2,000 pounds.
Is it really less than 2,000 pounds?
Yeah. Huh?
Holy crap.
Wow.
And what, 0 to 62 in, they say 7.5, which isn't bad. The roof is an unbelievable faff if you have one hand, which I have at the moment. And yeah, it's been a mega thing. It's not the comfiest in the world by any stretch.
I tried to sit in it. Not the comfiest. I can agree.
I will put that picture on some form of social media.
If you're me,
later.
it's basically a better looking Caterham with leather. I mean, there's not a lot of difference.
You need to. I think you would work well with the roof down, I think.
Probably. I've driven the Aero Super Sports, which was one of my favorite things I've ever driven. It was the greatest.
Aero coupes were the first night shoot I ever did for Xcar. We asked them very nicely if we could have it, and they said yes, you can have it for 3 days. So I had to get the train up to Malvern, then drive it back. Then I had a day in the office, and then straight shoot, and then I had to drive the car back. That car remains one of my favoritist cars in the whole wide world ever.
It is the coolest.
I adore it.
Yeah.
I think this might have been the one I drove. It's the same color, and they probably only made one of each color of
They
these
can't
things.
have too many press cars.
Dude, this thing, it's like, this was the most Great Gatsby experience because it had the BMW V8 side pipes, the triple wipers and the noise and the pontoon fenders you're looking over, and the one I was in inexplicably had carbon bucket seats.
Oh no, those tilt seats. So in the Aero Coupe we had, it had these tilt seats, which are a cost option. I'm sure they're great on the track. The problem is it was set up for Charles Morgan, who is a lot taller than me.
Every car is set up for Charles Morgan.
But the thing was, I was driving it down the motorway and I could barely see over the steering wheel, so I had to stop and buy like a cushion from a service station.
Oh my god!
So for that film, if anyone goes back and has a look, all the interior stuff, I'm sat on a folded up leather jacket because awesome. I couldn't see over the wheel.
Did you buy the leather jacket from Morgan?
No, I did not.
I bought a leather jacket at the Morgan factory, and I've worn it exactly one time. The day I was at the factory. It's a fucking shearling coat.
Oh mate!
Oh, here's the interior.
You live in LA. You do not need a shearling.
It was. I know it was freezing there too, and the coat weighs like 50 pounds, so you can't pack it and go anywhere with it. Look at this interior. This is such a cool throwback interior of this thing. It's like it's actually got the same steering wheel as my Vanquish, and that like roof and a bunch of these sort of like. We need airbags. What are we gonna do?
We'll use that.
That's that steering wheel.
Who does our airbag? These people.
But everything is just stuck on, and yet it's all carbon fiber and kind of glorious.
It's that car made me the Aero Coupe is the one without the removable roof. It made me fall in love with it. And then I drove a 3-wheeler and.
That
3 years after that I bought one.
That car is an experience. There is no other way to describe it. It's just there are a handful of cars that have ever been built that are just. Art first, and the experience that goes along with it, with the sights, the smells, the sounds, and that's definitely on that list, that short list of cars that are just an experience to drive and one of like a bucket list item for any car guy.
3-wheeler as well. 3-wheeler is like flying a fucking Spitfire or something.
Yeah,
it's very aircraft-like.
Slingshot doesn't count. We're not talking.
No,
Slingshots
slingshots stink. I mean the actual three-wheeler.
Yeah.
Three-wheeler by name.
That is my very three-wheeler. I drove it in 2018 from London to Lisbon, the quick way, and then Lisbon to London, the slow way, in late October. So Portugal, beautiful late October.
Sure.
Yeah.
This kind of weather, 24, 25 degrees, like really, really beautiful. Northern France, late October, bullshit. Hailstorm in that.
Oh,
no
God.
helmet. No helmet. Goggles, hailstorm though, 70 miles an hour, just little balls of ice
God.
just flicking. Because we were driving along, and all of a sudden I could hear on the nose of the car, you could just hear like kind of
Tink,
rain
tink,
hitting
tink,
metal.
tink,
You're like,
yeah.
oh, okay. And then also a little bit on me, fine. It's like, hang on, this rain really hurts. Why is the rain spicy? I don't understand.
These things are. I'm so glad I got to drive Alex Royce for an hour, and then I'm so glad I got to give it back to him. Because, I mean, he's had some issues with his. Is yours work properly?
Yeah, mine's fine.
Why does yours work and his doesn't?
His is quite a
Is
bit
it because
older
of
than
him?
mine, isn't it?
Does yours? Are there updates that are very important?
I know they did some bits to them. I don't know kind of the ins and outs of it properly. I mean, there have been a few little things wrong with mine, but that's largely because I drove it hard and did silly things with it. But mine's been largely bang on. Like, I've been lucky.
It's the coolest
maybe it's just
experience
Alex
driving
Roy.
those things. They're so
It's
much
just
fun.
Alex. It's just Alex.
Yes.
Do you have shark mouth? That's your shark mouth?
It's Lotus Deep Purple, and it has a shark face on it because I am a man-child.
It also has eyes.
It has eyes, yeah. It has eyes. The cool thing is when you're driving along in the mudguards, you see the shark face, and it looks like it's trying to eat itself.
So the drivetrain in
Love
that, for those that don't know, it's a V-twin,
Yep.
basically a motorcycle motor, and then it's a version of like a Miata manual transmission, isn't it?
So five-speed Mazda. thing.
Mazda transmission, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of the best worst cars you can buy.
Yeah,
Because
it's
if it
worse.
rains,
Do you think it's worst best or best worst?
I mean, I think my almost namesake Alex Roy summed it up best. Said it's the best fourth car you can ever have.
That sounds about right.
Because it's if it rains, you get wet. It can be a little bit uncomfortable. You can't put anything in it because the boot space is like this much.
It doesn't matter. Like you said, fourth car. The closest I've ever come to something like that is I owned a rail buggy, like a Volkswagen dune buggy.
Yeah.
Like the rail in Florida, you can drive them on the street, like no big deal. And that's the closest that I came to it. But that was like fourth car. That was just like a weekend toy, like whatever, but it was so much fun to drive. You just didn't care that you were getting wet. You didn't care that it was noisy. You didn't care about anything because you're just driving around with a big goofy grin on your face, and that's all it's about.
It is impossible to be unhappy in that three-wheeler. I had I think one day I'd been shooting in Wales and there'd been horrible traffic. I was in a Ferrari, California, I think it was, and I was driving back into town.
Which would depress anybody.
And there was just the worst traffic in the world. It took 2.5 hours to get from the outskirts of London to the car park at the office. And I was raging. I was anger personified. It was miserable. It was cold. It was there. And I got out of the Ferrari and into the Morgan, and instantly I went, life isn't that bad.
Yeah.
Let's go and do happy things.
Yes.
Life's only bad in a Morgan three-wheeler when you have to go over a pothole and you can't straddle it.
So my co-driver on the Lisbon trip, Australian journalist called Noelle, she summed it up quite neatly. She went, so whenever you see a pothole or a speed bump, you have to decide which wheel you hate the most.
Oh God!
Do you
have
hate?
to share the hate.
Yeah.
You
Pick your
rotate
child.
between wheels.
You can't do. You can't get away with it at all. Like, something's going to be uncomfortable.
That was really, I think the biggest problem Alex Roy had was he lives in Manhattan with this thing, which they have. I mean, their roads are really, really
They're
bad.
dreadful.
And if you remove the ability to straddle a pothole in Manhattan, and your chassis is made of wood, it's just not meant to handle those types of impacts.
No.
I
think he bent 2 chassis.
I had heard that.
Among other things that he bent.
I
but
really
ultimately,
want to see his three-wheeler. I've heard about it. I've seen the video of the cannonball thing. One day I'm going to get myself to New York and
you
just go and have a
can
look
buy
at
it for probably $12 right now.
I already have one, but thanks.
His,
Keep it here. buy it and keep it here in the U.S. You can have it when you need it.
I know a place you could leave it.
Plug.
Synergy.
Yes. So wait, to go back to the Plus 4.
Yes.
So it's got this like 200 horsepower 4-cylinder or something, 190,
bit less than that.
100 and something.
60.
Okay, a lot less than that. Yeah. For $70,000, is it a car that we want? Do you want?
So, having driven it for about 1,000 miles, so
this is a lot.
It's a lot. I took it up the 5 to San Francisco to see some friends and do some cool stuff.
That must have been horrible.
It was awful.
That driving anything but like a Rolls Royce or a Tesla or something is just trash.
Well, I would have been okay, but I broke my finger, and the problem is anytime there's like a big bump, it jarred my whole hand because I was gripping the steering wheel. So while it was still daylight, I was looking at the road going, oh, that's a surface change. So I was like holding my hand up like that. Oh, that's a surface change. So up the 5, it wasn't great. San Francisco, it was all good. Down the 1, the suspension is bizarre because it is really quite bouncy, even when you think it's a glass smooth road. The motor itself, it pulls, man. Like it will do some speed.
It only has like 1,800 pounds.
Yeah, it doesn't weigh. It doesn't weigh very much.
Like it's quick. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but the thing that gets me about it is that even though I have to stuff my bag of hand baggage only clothes behind the passenger seat, and it's a bit, and there is some faff about it, I get out of whatever shady motel I'm in the morning, and I look at it and go, "That's fucking cool."
Yeah. I mean, you are actually the coolest guy in the parking lot when you have one of these.
Yes.
Like it outside the parking, outside here, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And you're cool with. I mean, you're kind of pretentious.
Oh, yeah, but
like,
look at me.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's the accent.
I can't
Thank you
pull
very
it off.
much.
No one's taking me seriously in this, but your wardrobe matches and accent matches. It's like you could be hipster cool in this.
You don't get out of that.
I can dig that because I'm not hipster cool in London. I'm just a dickhead.
Yeah, I mean, here's the good thing about it. It's like a bullshit Ford 4-cylinder. It's a bullshit Mazda gearbox. Like the basics of it are modern and sort of economy car based. So like, it should work okay.
Yeah,
right.
So far so good. 1,000 miles, no fluids have fallen out of it, and it's been bizarrely good on fuel. It's done like 2.5-3 tanks.
Okay,
but the tanks are small.
How big is the tank? Small. It's like 10 gallons, maybe 12 gallons.
I haven't spent more than $40 filling it up.
Oh yeah, that's
even
small.
in California. That's small. That's cheap. Yeah.
I mean, if you are small, it's probably good fun.
I am an small person.
Yeah, I tried to sit in it, and like I could do an hour in it or 2, but it's not. It's getting in and out of it is a problem.
I will put you in touch with the man. He's in Santa Monica. You should take it for a spin. I think you'll like it.
Don't they have a long wheelbase one? They do, right?
They have a long, the Plus 6, but that's not in the US yet.
Isn't the Plus 6 is the one with the 3.7 Ford engine, right?
No, that's the Roadster.
Oh,
So they're stopping. That part of the reason for my driving it is it's kind of a final drive for the Plus 4 because they're stopping making the old style chassis and they're moving on to the one they introduced last year.
So here's the Plus 6. Oh, the Plus 6 is good looking. Well, that's very nice.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I am a fan of this. So this is
headlights?
Presumably this is a 6-cylinder, right?
So that is the same powertrain as you get in a Supra in a car that weighs half a ton less.
Wow.
Oh, it's the BMW shit?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck out of here. That's pretty rad. Now I'm not pissed it's a BMW motor. In the Supra, somehow I'm annoyed. But in this, I'm kind of like, oh, yes, bring this on, please.
That does not have traction control.
Ooh.
So you will find out pretty quickly leaving a junction just where your limit is.
Yeah.
Manual or is it?
It's the 8-speed thing.
Oh, it's auto. Have you driven one of these yet?
Yeah, drove it last August.
Is it obscenely fast?
It's very fast, and I can't honestly tell you whether or not it leaves hilariously long number 11s on the public highway, but I'm pretty sure it would if you just
the numbers say that it would. Yes.
The numbers say that the numbers suggest that the rear end might be a smidge lively.
What does this thing weigh?
Naff all.
Nothing.
The curb weight is 2370 pounds. Wow. Jesus. So it's like 900 pounds lighter than a Supra.
Literally, my bike is over 700 pounds.
Yeah. Whoa, is that the interior?
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh, wow.
they've really done some things. Holy shit, look at that. Hang on, guys. I'll bring this over for you. So this interior, they've
still
got the
couldn't change
same,
the gear shifter.
they've got the steering wheel from the Lotus Evora. That's the Evora steering wheel, right? Or is it a Supra steering wheel?
I
not
do not
Supra.
know. It's not Evora either.
I think it might be a Supra steering wheel. I don't know, but it's got the BMW space dildo shifter.
Yep.
I like that they've kept the round gauges, but this sort of matte finish wood looks very cool.
But you can, if you want one, you can spec it to anything. I think that's one of the launch edition.
It looks rad, though.
Yeah, it's
I'm a fan of this.
It
Is this a good car?
Yes, it is. It's properly good.
It looks fucking awesome.
There
Wow.
is somewhere out there on the Instagrams, because Evo had one at their car of the year, and there's a picture of Dickie Meaden sliding one-handed, just like hand out the window. It's
Let's just Google Evo Drift.
There it is.
How about that? Oh, good man, Dickie. I love Dickie Meaden. He's mobbing here. Look at that. He looks like he's having a real good time there. He's got a pretty decent angle on it too, actually, doesn't he? That's fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad, like, the other funny thing that Alex Roy said, he's like, at the end of the world, there's going to be 3 car companies and Morgan.
Somehow, the thing is, I need to be in a room with Alex Roy just to prove to myself that we're not somehow the same person. I go to
If
sleep.
I was
and
a
all of
better
sudden
producer, I would have
become Alex Roy.
made that happen. No, I would have had him here. No offense, Vinny. I would have had you here in this chair.
Because we've been in the same room together once. So remember years ago we came to interview you about your DeLorean, where you used to keep your cars.
Yeah.
And he turned up in his SM long before we arrived.
Yeah.
And you guys were just having a quick conversation and like shook hands and said, "Oh, my name's Alex Goy," and he was like, "Oh, my mother would love you," and then he left, and that was it. I was like,
the reason that building that you came to,
Yeah.
getting kicked out of that building is why I built the place across the street.
smart.
Yeah, I had no other option.
I needed
But
somewhere to put my car.
That DeLorean film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
I have a bone to pick with you about that.
With me?
Yeah.
Why? What'd I do?
Because you said like there was this amazing, because we had this amazing interview with you, and you said this. It was an amazing, like, if I ever sell this car, something real bad would have happened. I'll be like living in a cardboard box. And we got that film took 2 years to put together. And I got the first cut through, and I was super excited because we got all the pieces together. And then it led with you going, if I ever sell, like, it was the first thing, if I ever sell this car, something really bad has happened. A day later, I'm selling my DeLorean.
Something really bad happened. That's what you don't know is that something really bad happened. I needed it.
He owned a DeLorean.
I had something really bad. Here's what's really bad happened.
He woke up and went, "I own a DeLorean."
No, I didn't. What happened was, I got kicked out of that building. And I think when you came to see me, I had
You had a few cars though, yeah.
5 or 6 cars probably. And I went from having room for all those to just not having it immediately.
Yeesh.
And
That is something bad happening. The excuse is valid.
Yeah, I wasn't living in a cardboard box, but my cars were basically living in cardboard boxes. And it was unfortunate that I really liked that car, but the low mileage of it was a virtue. And so, and it's also, I assume you've driven them.
I drove one.
They're not that fun.
It was an experience.
Like, here's the thing. In England or anywhere more suburban, they're probably fine. In LA, we've got 2 kinds of driving. We've got grid, shitty traffic, and then we've got, mobbing the canyons, right? And there's nothing really in between. A DeLorean is like a 5/10 cruise car.
Yeah.
And we don't have 5/10 cruising here.
No, you do not.
And at those other 2 activities, it's utter shit. And it can't be improved.
No.
I mean, because you had a manual one, didn't you?
Yeah.
How heavy was the clutch? Because I only drove the auto.
Very heavy. I mean, the clutch is heavy, the steering is heavy, the brakes are spongy. Like, there's not, it just isn't, it looks so cool. I loved having it in my garage. If I had a space continuously, I would still own it if I had a place to keep it. But it became like this thing that was beautiful but took up all this space, and I couldn't really drive it very much. And it was like, what the fuck? And so I guess
Driving a DeLorean to me is like getting up in the morning and getting dressed for Halloween every day. It's like you're driving your Halloween because like it's super cool and like you get all done up and everything, but like it's completely useless any other day of the year. Like that's like wearing your Halloween outfit but driving it.
People loved it. Every time I drove it, people fucking loved it. I mean, people really did like it.
And if you were dressed as Superman, people would love it too.
Probably. It's one of the only cars I've ever had that women were really into. But
you never owned a G-Wagon.
I had, mine was like the nicest one you could have, and even that was still kind of not that great compared to some other shit. But it's fine. I'm sorry I ruined your film.
Well, you didn't ruin it. We just had to re-edit the intro at great expense. It wasn't my money. It's fine.
Fuck me.
But no, that's
film, that's why I've learned one of those things is to never ever say shit like that anymore. Don't say I'll never sell this, or don't say here's when this will be finished. Don't ever predict anything like that.
Don't ever say it. But that film it won a Telly Award, which I had no idea it was being entered for, but CBS entered a bunch of stuff, and then we got these. Just after I left CBS, we got I got a picture of these two trophies, like one for scaring the crap out of my mum in a Focus RS, and one for the DeLorean piece. So
nice.
There's a little bit of
you got a trophy for scaring your mom in a Focus RS.
It won the film won a Telly Award in the automotive category. I had no idea this had been entered. I just got a text message going, "Congrats, you've won some stuff. Enjoy your new career." And all right, thanks, mate. But no, I've seen them. Years ago, we had a track day, and we needed to fill it with stuff. So we had a 911 991.2 Turbo S, and that was going to be me. And then it was like, what else do we do? And I had this idea ages ago. It was like, what if I got my mum, who hates driving and cars, to try and drift a Focus RS? So that's what we did. We halved the track. I had one half to play around in a 911, and someone from the Ford press office was sat with my 60-something-year-old mother trying to drift around the cone. The footage is amazing because she just drives slowly around this cone. In the end, she did a drift. The radios went, it's like, Alex, you gotta get up. She's done a drift. She's got it. So we legged it up. She did one more big fuck off skid, and then she did a big spin, and she was like, I've had enough now, I wish to go home. Okay.
Hey,
that's my mum.
That
awesome. Film won an award. And
That's so funny that you got...
And then suspiciously, a few months later, Ford of America got grandparents drifting for Grandparents' Day.
Interesting.
I wonder where that came from. The best thing about that film, though, is it pissed off 2 Australian journalists.
I mean, that is pissing off Australians is a side bonus of really anything, isn't it?
So one day my Facebook contact put up this thing from Australia, Melbourne News 8, of this man, the newsreader with the virtual screen.
Yeah.
And this man's like very grey man starts talking about the new Hoon machine from Ford. But then the Hoon machine from Ford has a controversial drift mode. But in the little virtual screen there was footage of a British Focus RS. And I was like, I recognise that track. And I recognise that. That's my mum. Like, genuinely using the single worst person to demonstrate how out of control you can get a car was my mother. And then this other guy, another Aussie, he calls himself the car expert. He did this whole video about how Ford has lost their minds and they're going to kill people, and then kind of lifted a bit of the video, and he was quite rude about my mum, which it was like
not right.
Alex got his mum a 60-something conservative portly woman. I was like, you do not call it. There is no journalistic reason for calling my mum fat on the internet at all. But he did this whole tirade about how awful it was and how irresponsible the car was. He was like, well, they did it on a track, but what if that was a street, and what if there was a baby? And that's why we got a track, you prick.
We literally got this scenario specifically to avoid what you're talking about, and it cost us quite a bit of money to do this.
We didn't want to mow down any children,
what
so we
if
didn't
they drove
do
it
it
off a cliff? What would happen then?
Yes, the famous cliffs around Castle Combe.
What a dumb comment.
That dude, man, he can
But your mom nailed one though.
Oh yeah, she got one, and then she did another one that ended in a big spin, and then she was like, "I'm done with this. Can we go home?" And I still had a lot of work to do.
It didn't inspire her to do any driving or any sport driving.
No, we put her afterwards in a Range Rover to see if we could scare her off-roading, but actually she really loved it. Like she was like, "Oh, I adore this. This is the best thing in the world." I want her to do one more. Because it's so easy to do 150 miles an hour these days.
Yeah,
like 150 it's a piece of piss.
Yeah.
So I want to get a drag strip and just get her doing 150 because I know she'll scream, but I know she'll be able to do it and probably leave going, "Oh, that was quite entertaining."
You need to get her in a car doing a wheelie too.
No.
Oh yeah,
in a car doing a wheelie.
Why not?
I mean, you know the car to do it as well as the Taycan, because that'll really bug her out.
Oh, because of course there's no noise.
Because there's no noise, there's no shifting, there's nothing. It's just put your foot down and go, and it feels.
I was just thinking Anne McLaren, like any of them.
Also Anne McLaren.
Just stick her in a like 540S.
If you want to go
pedal
extremely
on the right,
fast,
just mash it to the floor and lift off when I tell you to, and it'll be fine.
You should block off the speedometer so she doesn't know how fast she's going. Only you can see it, and just let her keep going.
And then afterwards,
keep going. Afterwards, be like, "Here, Mom, you're doing 160 miles an hour."
37 miles an hour, Mum. Very, very well done.
Feels very fast for 40, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
you got to bring out to the dry. Are there any dry lake beds in the UK? Do you have a dry lake bed anywhere?
No. Well, we don't tend to get droughts. We tend to get floods.
Oh, but you know what you have is big long airfields everywhere.
We do. We have Bruntingthorpe.
Yeah. How long is Bruntingthorpe?
It's an emergency runway for something massive, and I can't remember what massive. But it's long. It's like a couple of miles, I think.
Like B-52?
Something like that. I don't know.
Maybe one of those like Antonov things, the planes that carry other planes. Is that what that is? That beluga whale shit.
I saw one of those the other day.
Did you? What a weird looking plane.
It's a revolting thing.
Yeah.
It's really horrible.
It's and like the whole mouth opens, right?
Yeah. And he goes, feed me.
Oh God, what an ugly fucking plane that is. This is a real thing.
I mean, it looks like something Disney would create.
It's absolutely heinous.
Like, ew.
Oh God damn it. You gotta do that and then that. That's how you make it the right size. Otherwise, it goes tiny.
Just look at it.
I mean, I kind of like that it's smiling a little bit. I like that it has like a bit of a face. Face is good. And I like that you can put big things in it.
Things with faces, most of the time good. In this case, it just... No.
It's probably remarkably chill to fly.
Really?
I bet you got to do everything nice and slow.
Is that a plane that would be ridden in a short bus?
What? It's got some issues, but like, it's okay. Don't call it portly, all right? Certainly not on the internet. It's the best are when you have photos of it like at a gate.
Get one with it open.
Like here. So that's a plane going in the plane.
Oh,
shit. Wait, I hit the wrong button. They're putting an entire plane in this plane. That's the thing.
That's begging.
That's a fuselage.
That's begging for a meme.
Choke on this plane. And how about this?
It's my Valentine's Day.
This cool truck that's like lifting it up in there.
You.
There's like I want to be part of the team that works on this sweet like trailer rig that lifts the plane into the plane.
Airport vehicles. It's on my list of things I really want to drive.
Yeah,
because they just look like fun.
Those little mini tractor things. They look like.
Have you ever
fun.
driven like any heavy equipment, like bulldozers or like
excavators?
Excavators.
I drove a Unimog once, and it was great.
No, it's not the same. You need something where you can like dig like big holes and like. So there's a place out in Colorado that you can actually go out there, and it's a ranch, and you can like pay to and there's a whole like rodeo.
I have it
play with all these heavy equipment.
No, look, I have it pulled up. It's called Dig This.
Amazing.
It's construction school.
Yeah.
And you can play. Look, there's the gift shop. You can play with.
It's so
all
much fun.
kinds of individual digs.
Gather a group of your closest friends to dig things.
Fuck yeah, dude. The big dig excavator, dude.
What child inside you wouldn't have fun doing that?
The mega dig.
I would like to do that. There's also
the aggression session. Crush a car.
I've seen that video on the internet. I don't want to be in that video.
You don't want to be in the promo video, but I mean, you can crush a car for $400 daily. Hell yeah.
I would. You know what? I would pay £400 400 to crush a car. Can I choose the car? Can it be an Alfa Romeo 4C, one of the most hateful vehicles known to man? Such promise, such beauty, such a letdown.
I am 1,000% with you.
Yes!
I hate that car.
You're one of the few American journalists who agrees with me, because I was saying to my American colleagues before, I was like, well, I think it's awful. They're like, but it's the best car in the world. It's unimpeachably brilliant because of this. I'm like, it is a 10-year-old Lotus is better than this.
Yes. Every Elise or Exige I've ever driven is vastly better than a 4C.
It is an objectively awful vehicle.
It was. And I went all the way to Italy to Alfa Romeo's test track to do a bit for TV, and I go, well, it's got to be good here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, it's shit in LA, but they don't. The Italians only design things for themselves, apparently. And so here at Alfa Romeo, at their track, it must be amazing. And we, as you do, you had like 19 espressos before going out.
Obviously.
And it was horrible on their track, and I go, how does anyone drive this car around this track and go, it's perfect, sell it like this?
We've done it, guys. We've solved it. We've saved Alfa Romeo's sporting reputation.
No, it was not good.
No.
It's a good 5/10 car, but when you get to 8 or 9/10, it becomes nightmarish to drive.
It's good parked up.
Yeah, it looks good.
If you can find a space wide enough for it, because it's the widest thing in the world.
It does look good. The passenger seat has negative room. You actually can't put legs of humans in the passenger seat. It's a really ridiculous vehicle.
Somehow they managed to get the rear seat of a 911 into the passenger seat of a 4C.
It's so silly. Hey, if you're with us live, get in the super chat. We got a few questions to get to for about a half hour or so.
What do we got?
With an Englishman.
Hello.
Before that, though, tell me about that Gianarelli thing you just drove.
The Gianarelli.
And there's probably an image of it there.
Because I put everything on my Instagram.
That's why. A1 Goy. It's not racist. It's just Alex.
Why does everything you drive have gumballs on the door?
It is. It's a fucking common thing with you.
Because, do you
carry them with you? I
like my cars hand-built, and I like them to have a big racing spot on the side, just in case I decide to go and race.
You have a set of gumballs in your carry-on, don't you?
You
do.
I told you.
You roll them up and throw them on every car.
That's why I haven't been able to buy presents for friends, because I've just got hundreds of vinyl stickers. I've been putting them on bars. I've been putting them on tables. There are now 6 in your new. I'm not going to tell you where they are.
It's like the Caswell Build Race Party sticker that's on everything.
So the Gianarelli design one.
So these guys hit me up.
Yeah.
Like forever ago, and I thought the name sounds really weird. Gianarelli's a weird name. It's a guy's name, right?
It's Anthony Gianarelli is the designer. He designs cars for W Motors in Dubai. So, like the Lycan and the Fenrir.
The Fenrir?
Fenrir.
There's a spice called fenugreek that reminds me of it's Fenner, Fenyr, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So he designed those, and they're kind of mega big horsepower things, and I've never seen one in the metal. I'm sure they do exist. What's it like?
Heinous.
Right.
but
sorry, Mr. Gianarelli.
No, not a Gianarelli.
Oh.
No, the W thing.
The W thing that he designed.
The Fenner I saw. Yeah, no, it's heinous. But I mean, I don't think everyone thinks it's heinous.
Yeah.
I think it looks like a post-apocalyptic future movie prop kind of thing.
Is it very much a car for Dubai?
Yes.
There we are. There we are.
Perfect for Dubai.
Yep.
And allegedly has an 800 horsepower motor built by Roof, like a flat 6 built by Roof. So okay.
All right.
I'll take that and PDK.
Ooh, so it's easy to drive.
Yeah, it's
very
seemingly,
fast.
sort of, yeah. It's really strange looking. I saw it at, there's a thing in LA called the Sunset GT, which is a Cars and Coffee on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, that's cool.
So I just call it the Yeezy Nationals. It's just all Yeezys, sweatpants, and APs.
Oh, no.
It's all of that. And Skittles, Lambos, and 18 Koenigsegg's, and a Fenner Super Sport.
And
one.
Could you, if you go to this, can we see your eyes rolling from space? Just like, oh god!
You have to smoke a lot of weed before going to this. It's a lot to take in.
You got to remember, in this town, you go to a Cars and Coffee, and there's 6 Sennas, you know, or all of the Koenigseggs all sitting in a row, and you're just like,
guaranteed, turn up in that +4.
Oh my god!
You
get some love in that. Yeah, you would for sure. Or the Gianarelli, because it's pretty crazy. It's actually quite attractive.
It's a beautiful thing. So Anthony Gianarelli, he tours around Dubai in a Caterham. And because that's
He
the
has
most sensible.
SPF 1000. I fucking hope. Jesus Christ, man.
And what he wanted was a car that looked like something from the 60s, but handled like his Caterham. So it was kind of sporty, kind of fast. So he built it. It originally didn't have a roof. So it was originally just a tiny little fly screen, and it's just an open top.
Speedster windshield.
Yeah. And then they put a proper windscreen on it, and then they put a roof on it because they realised that people might actually want to drive it in the cold, as I did. And it's a mega thing. Like, it's got a 3.5 litre Nissan V6.
It's a cool motor.
Wow, this Lotus Green is really quite aggressive, isn't it?
I like that because it's still a pretty car, but it's in a colour that says, I honestly don't care.
Yeah, I mean, there's elements of Lotus 7. I mean, clearly the central tunnel, right, is Lotus 7, and he kind of went, well, let me sculpt some actual French-style fenders over this thing.
So the motor is in the middle. Mm-hmm. There's not a motor under the hood. That's just radiators.
I'm sorry. Where the motor's in the middle behind?
Yeah.
The motor's behind the driver in this fucking thing?
Yeah.
This is not a front and mid car?
No, it's a mid-engine car.
What?
Yeah.
With those
I suppose this giant
scoop
scoop does have to go somewhere, but I didn't really think that. Wait, what?
So it's like more than 300 horsepower, 3.5 litre.
Is it it's transverse mounted?
I think so.
What? I gotta find a photo with
like an Ultima drivetrain.
This thing is like the cockpit's pretty far back.
Yeah.
Wow, how interesting.
And he's designed the chassis himself.
He's made a modern Jalpa.
And
I guess, yeah.
It's, you know what? It shifts. Traction control is an option I advise everyone get. There's no ABS. They're making 499 or some ridiculously low number. It's been a while since I drove it, so most of the info's sort of fallen out of my head. It's quick. It's fun.
It's a good sounding motor too.
Oh man, and there's no silencer on it.
Of course not.
So you nail it.
So does it sound like a 370Z? Is it that engine?
It's a Nissan engine, so it might be.
It's probably the 3.5.
It's probably
If it's transverse, it may be like a Maxima drivetrain that they grafted into the back or something.
Yeah. What's the gearbox?
6-speed stick.
Huh.
Which you could get in Maxima or the Ultima.
Or Sentra SER maybe.
Yeah,
Sentra
like was still a 4-cylinder, but the Ultima, you could have got the Ultima R SER.
Yeah. How interesting.
It is fast. And
it does not look at all like a rear engine car.
No.
I like the Target configuration.
Is the weight distribution feels
pretty
good?
decent. Feels pretty decent. I had it on one of the typical English January day, so it was grey and miserable and horrible. But it was a mega thing.
What color? Oh, grey was what you had. You had the grey,
I had the blue
right?
one. If you go back to my Insta thing, there is a picture of it with the roof up.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's right next. Yeah. That's how you get in and out of it. So the door is like tiny sliver. So you kind of open the door and then you get into this Thunderbird style canopy.
Is this canopy on a strut?
Yourself in. Yeah, so it's like you have to push it and then it will kind of lock itself into place.
This is like one of those kit cars from the 70s where the whole canopy went up.
Get this though. When you bring it down,
so
there's a locking mechanism at the top on the outside, but of course when you're in it you can't do that. So there's a big handle just in the middle of the cockpit, so you yank it down as hard as you can, you twist it, it's like you're sealing yourself into a submarine. It's really cool.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's a neat touch.
I like that very much.
When you roll it over, you get out how?
Pass. Having not rolled anything.
It doesn't have the Mercedes like explosive door struts.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing though, how big do you think it is?
I think it is slightly bigger than a Miata.
You're about right.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
It's
like
absolutely
S2000?
minuscule. Yeah, it's shorter than. It's really, really small.
Oh, then that's got to be really fun.
Because I was quite snug in there.
Yeah.
Is there any of these photos that show it like
the engine
next to another vehicle?
Yeah.
I do not know.
Gianarelli on road. Let me see if that photo gives us anything. Next to another car? Not really.
Next to another Gianarelli?
Yeah. It's perfectly scaled with this other car.
This other identical car.
Damn it, there's literally the first page of results doesn't have a
There-
single photo of one of these parked next to another car.
Thing is, there aren't many kicking around.
Yeah.
They haven't built many. They will be. They've got orders in.
Do you how much does it cost?
Oh, lots of money. It's
Is
like
it?
It's like 86,000.
Oh, that's-
before options. So before you put a roof on it, before you put traction control on it, before I think it's 86,000. Before you because you can upgrade. So the panels are glass fiber, and then you can change those to carbon.
Right.
So it weighs. The chap was telling me it's like 950 kilos.
That's pretty light.
So they're £2,000, same as
Yeah,
the
that's
same as
pretty
the
light.
Morgan. But you can take about 100 off that
By going to carbon?
by going to carbon, having no roof, and.
Does it have real glass in the windows or is it Lexan?
In the side windows? Ooh,
The
hard.
side is Lexan for sure. The front is glass, right?
The front's glass, yeah.
It's fucking cool. Where do I have to go to drive this? England? The UK?
Dubai. They've got some in France, and I think they're going to be. I think they've kind of done their UK media thing. There is a
If you guys are
showroom.
listening and you're still coming to America, please circle back with me because I really would like to have a go in this.
You should have a go in that.
I wanted to. I don't. It was for probably a completely, not an important logistical
Do a
reason.
search for Generali comparison.
Uh-huh.
And there's a picture of the interior and a picture of the engine that pops up on the page.
Comparison.
Go to the images.
And go to the images. Thank you, Vinay.
So
Let's see.
halfway down, there should be an interior
boy,
shot of
thanks, Vin.
like an orange interior. Or something.
Orange interior. Here's an interior. Oh my God, it is really small. Look at this
Yes,
guy.
sorry, but that's Andrew Frankel, who is
Oh, it is
a
Andrew
very
Frankel.
tall man.
He is tall, but he's not. But it's still like if he was in a Miata, he'd probably fit a little better than that. That's pretty small.
Yeah,
He's pretty
it's-
close to the wheel.
It's proper tight in there.
Yeah.
Autocar had a picture of the engine somewhere.
And the engine is.
Oh, right there.
Oh, there. Here it is.
There you are.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's fucking behind the engine, isn't it? Or behind the behind the driver, isn't it? Wow, it's right up there.
And it sounds amazing.
Huh? Do you
It's-
recognize that engine, Vin?
It's a Maxima.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It sounds. It
Get at us,
sounds
boys.
like an old Le Mans car.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's glorious.
that motor with no restriction is not, because it's got all the torque that you ever could possibly want in something that size with all the rev. It's a great little motor.
It's mega.
Let's get into a few questions from the people. We've got
Zipina
Virent Felt 1990 says, "What is the dumbest or coolest thing you've done for a story or video?"
We didn't hire. We took over Toys R Us on a Sunday night and raced crazy carts around it. That was fun.
That's a
we,
good one.
We
That's
got
good.
chased by Jeffrey the giraffe. They were like, "Okay, you can have the store. But can you put Jeffrey in it?" And we were like, "We'll figure out how to do this." Like our old producer Nick, he's a genius. I love him to bits. He was like, "Okay," he storyboarded the whole thing. Like we put it all together because the first one we did was in our office in London, and we put a very expensive hole in a wall, so we were told we weren't allowed to do it. Another one in there. No, I didn't. I shan't name who it was, but if you watch the video, there are two of us on Crazy Carts. And yeah, so we had Toys R Us for the night. One of the crazy carts broke because we had two XLs and one of them just ate its motor, so we had to swap out. We had to in the shoot build in this reason for swapping. It was mental, and yeah, I got chased down an aisle by Jeffrey the giraffe.
I like that.
It is also in the now I think 7-8 years I've been making videos on the internet. You know, I spent 2 years making a DeLorean documentary. I've told these stories, like dug into the history of Dino Ferrari and all this. That has, last time I checked, over 14 million views on YouTube. It is the biggest impact I've made because it was front paged and for like half an hour, and it's just gone mental.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I've had a couple of videos where you spent so much time and energy on this other stuff, and telling your story and the minutiae of this, and then it's like, I'm gonna throw this thing up there, and it's like
7 billion views.
Dude, I made a video of Paul Walker's garage, in 2012, and I'm hungover. I'm in flip-flops. We have no audio. It's like cracking audio. Like Thad's like rack focusing a DSLR in real time. It's a disaster. Then he dies. And I have the definitive Paul Walker car collection video. It's like 10 million views. It's ridiculous. It's a piece of shit. It's a terrible video.
and that's what you're going to get remembered by.
Yeah.
The thing is, I will say that the Crazy Cut video, it isn't dreadful. I just wish a few more people would have watched the DeLorean video.
No, of course. Yeah.
Like, hey, what's this car channel?
Yeah.
It's not all about crazy cuts. What?
I was told specifically not to take a Brabus smart car to a track.
So that's
and
obviously
I took it
exactly
on a
what you
go-kart
did.
track indoors. And
Did we have fun?
we did not, but the video was fun. But I did not have fun. I thought it was stupid. Peter Chapman says I've got a low mile Porsche 9971 C2S in stick, and I love it. If I was going to up the budget to $50,000 to $65,000, what do you recommend? Daily 10-mile commute and weekend fun driving. I would recommend
keeping your 911.
Keeping your 911.
Keep one of the best cars.
It's a great car, and you're basically talking about going up in budget by like $5,000 or $10,000. So like, I keep that car and do light mods to suit.
Yeah.
Maybe some new wheels and tires, maybe a little suspension upgrade to exhaust, something basic, not too crazy.
Cosmetic bits if you got paint chips, like get the paint looked after, get the interior, like if you need anything retrimmed, like make it perfect.
Yeah, I wouldn't, for the budget you're talking about, I wouldn't get out of that car.
If he didn't preface it with "I love it," if he's like, then I'd say maybe go front engine rear wheel drive, go change it up a little bit. But you can't say that you love it and then say now I want to get rid of it and get something better. For $50,000, you're not going to.
I agree with you. I say stay in that car. Otherwise, let's just go. Decent cars for $50,000 to $65,000 right now. And BMW M2s are not bad.
Yeah, good shout.
Any number of used Lotuses is a good place to be. There's probably some real nice C7s floating around. C7 Corvettes floating around with cash on the hood.
If you can handle that, yeah.
Over the last week, I've seen so many of them. Mustangs and C7 Corvettes all the way up and down Route 1. They do look good. They look a lot better than the C8.
Couple reasons. One, they're kind of regular cars.
Okay.
You can definitely just have a Corvette as a car here. Also, extremely popular rentals. All them Mustang convertibles going up and down PCH, like you can get a Corvette from like Hertz, for like a couple $100 a day. They're pretty popular rentals. But also Corvettes, like they make a Corvette is a fantastic sports car that you can literally just use as a car.
Yeah.
And not have to treat it like it's super special.
$50,000, you can get into your Aston as well.
$50,000 V8 Vantage.
Yeah.
V8 Vantages. Yep.
I would say go for the manual because the flappy paddle thing eats clutches.
It sort of stinks. Yeah.
And
Manual is good. Yeah. Matt D says coolest option on a car, but that you wouldn't want. So who's selling something cool and putting on a car, but you don't want it? Like I like the Porsche Cayenne spare tire in the back, the exterior mount spare tire. You ever seen one of those?
No.
It's heinous.
Is that because
looking.
Nobody has Spectrum?
Yeah.
No, there's once in a blue moon you'll pass one that optioned out for this extremely expensive.
I saw one like a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's very, very rare. It's very rare and it's very weird looking.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, but I've only ever seen one like once or twice. It's a factory option. Yeah, it's really ugly.
I'm guessing that's no longer an option because it's revolting.
Yeah, it's first gen cars. But the dude says best option you never want. The problem is the good options I do want.
7 Series smell shit in the glove box.
Yes,
the
I agree
Spa
with
Air?
that.
Yeah.
Spa Air.
Yeah, I did the launch of that car.
I commend them for the technology behind it, but I don't want it in the car.
I did the launch of that car, and the UK launch, they took us on, they flew us down to Nice, and they were like, what we want to do is let you experience what a 7 Series owner would have. So we were chauffeured in the cars we were going to be driving home to a super yacht, and we got on that, and while we were there we were introduced to lots of people, and one of them was a professional nose, and she was telling us how these smells came together, and I was sat there thinking, this is really cool, but I'm never going to press that button. Like never.
Yeah.
Like if my car's going to smell of new car and occasionally farting, and that's it. Like that's
once in a while.
Like if you had a farting button, I would actually press that. Your buddies get in the car, you're like.
Teslas do have that.
Yeah, it's true.
But they need to pair it with the smell.
You're right.
Then you're good.
You added this.
I do want this Rolls-Royce Starfield ceiling.
That is cool.
Because, I mean, it's the best.
Would you get it customized to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course. The roof over...
What?
This, I don't know. Somewhere.
Over your house? Over...
No,
over
I mean, because it would just be like LA. They would just have to make a helicopter with a spotlight coming down to the roof.
The snowbird. What is that?
An LED track just out of eye line of planes coming down. I can't think of any particularly useless options. I mean, a cup holder in a Lotus Elise. It's a cool design thing.
Oh yeah, the hoop.
Yes, it's like they mill this bit of metal and you slide it out and you think, I would never have a cup of coffee in this car because you go over a bump and it's just, it's everywhere.
What about the Range Rover Overfinch with the guns and the bar in the back?
Oh, the Holland and Holland
The
thing.
Elise cup holder. I like this one. This is the double one.
Wow.
That one's good.
Ooh, fancy.
But the Mercedes G-Wagon has the basketball hoop cup holder too, which
also
I loved.
cool.
I put that in my Mustang. I bought that part. That was an excellent part. Let's see. What is the greatest? KC says the best lightweight / super light car you've ever driven. Like something like an Atom or something like that.
I mean, there's always an element with a lightweight car that you are going to be miserable at some point during the drive.
Lotus 340R.
Because in order for the car to be lightweight, something's got to give, and it's normally sound deadening and ride comfort. Yeah.
Just add lightness.
Yeah.
So what's great?
340R for me.
Lotus 340R.
Never driven one of those.
Yeah.
Is it amazing?
It's like it's an early Ariel Atom, but I just thought it was amazing.
I'm jealous. I need to drive one of those.
Yeah, you need to.
Quickly.
It's kinda cool.
Lightweight cars. The thing is, because I genuinely dislike Caterhams. I think they're dreadful.
No, you're Morgan.
Yeah, well, I can't really say that because it's my car.
I last week drove this, which I have a video coming out with on Wednesday. This is a classic Mini that has 500 horsepower. And it weighs 2,000 pounds.
How much poo came out?
Substantial poo. It has a rear-mounted Rotrex supercharged Acura V6 in it, and it makes 500 horsepower with 6-speed transaxle and a limited slip differential, and it runs a 10-second quarter mile.
I have questions. One, why?
Because. Next.
Two, I suppose, why not?
Yeah.
But how
sketchy?
Why?
Very.
Yeah.
Incredibly sketchy.
Super sketch.
Incredibly fast.
Is it a little bit sidewaysy?
Hang on, I think I can probably
The
pull
most
up.
entertaining part of the video is going to be me watching him get in and out of that car.
Yes,
I
Minis
wonder
are...
if I can play this. If it might work.
Minis are
He's
mini.
not so mini.
I drove that, the David Brown Automotive do that speed back thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an XKR for £400,000 or more, and it looks kind of like a DB5. They do a Mini remastered, and I drove that last year.
A Mini remastered.
Yes. Now,
I saw that at the Geneva show.
it's like 90,000 basic. And what they do is they go, we'll buy a Mini, we'll sort it. And they buy a Mini, they take the engine, the gearbox, they refurbish both, and then they buy a new shell because you can do that.
Yeah.
They're about $8,000. And then they get it painted by the people who paint concept cars, this place in Coventry, and then you can spec it to whatever you want. So the two I drove, one was £110,000 and one was £130,000. Like, one was Alpine themed, so it had a little kind of Alpine motif on it that was painted in.
Wow.
It had proper shag pile carpet. So much fun. It had like 95 horsepower. So much fun. Just razzing around London. No, it's not 500 horsepower, Matt.
All right, so I'm gonna show you something real quick. This is a clip from this video that I'm gonna put up. The video's not out yet, but it's my fucking channel, so I can do this. Okay, hang on.
You don't have a.
I think I have sound. Is that coming out?
Yeah, we kind of heard a little bit.
It's not coming in.
It's through your. I can hear it through the microphone.
Hang on. Sorry. System preferences. I'll make it happen.
But while
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
while
Sorry, I
Matt
apologize.
is being a technical person,
I am being a nerd.
This Mini thing, like, I could see why someone would want it because it's it's already like a fun
It's
car.
done, yeah.
But what they do is they just make it better. So they put a little bit of power assistance in the steering so you can properly hurl it round.
Yeah.
They give it the extra power. The gearbox is refurbished, so it won't. So it's not difficult.
So basically, everything that you'd want to improve in a Mini slightly,
Yeah.
they just kind of just polish it off.
The only problem is they put air conditioning in it, and there's only limited controls throughout the whole thing. So in order to make the air conditioning work, you've got to pull out something and then you've got to twist something. but because the motor's under such load, because it's only tiny, so because they've got like a proper head unit in there with CarPlay, they've got digital radio, they've got this, they've got that, and you pull out the thing and just the engine speed goes, hello, we're back. Oh, sorry about that. Just took a little break there.
I had an 06 John Cooper Works Mini, like a modern one, like an R53, and when you turn the AC on, the power was so bad.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, something. I put it on a dyno. My friend had a shop, and it lost 32 horsepower with the air conditioning running.
That only had 190 horsepower.
Yes, that's correct.
So all the money
it turned the
spent,
JCW back into an S.
Yeah. So
you want to see something crazy?
It just nullified like $4,000 worth of parts.
Yeah. This is going to be a pull. Check this out.
Ground clearance. These guys kept ground clearance. So like.
All right, so here I'm going to just do a pull in this thing. Shall we? Listen to this.
They told me to hammer down.
It's 5 gears.
Let's do it.
Bro.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Oh my god, dude.
That was a car with an 86-inch wheelbase.
Mate.
So massively sketchy.
Just one bump and you're pirouetting to your death.
That vehicle runs a 10.2 quarter mile at 140 miles an hour.
But how is that possible with the clearly enormous weighty testicles of the driver going,
It's so crazy.
Dragging on the ground. They actually have a scoop in the seat, where you can actually.
And that's at the top of 5th gear is when you hit the quarter mile. So you're shifting 4 times in 10 seconds. And going 140.
It's like the strongest forearm in the West.
That's so fucking gnarly.
Jesus.
So that video is coming out Wednesday. That's the best. That's one of the best light cars I've ever driven. Like holy fuck.
I think you win.
Dante Zero enjoyed meeting Alex in Detroit a few years ago. Alex, do you still ride a bicycle? And if so, what kind of bike?
I do ride a bicycle very occasionally. If any of my friends are listening, I do ride it. The tyres are flat in my kitchen just because of reasons. I need to get them changed, not because I haven't ridden it in months. It's the world's cheapest bike from a sale at the local Halfords because I needed to cycle to work. That was it. It is purely a mode of transport. I tried getting into cycling. I have the Lycra. No one needs to see me in Lycra.
You can cycle without the Lycra. There's levels. But you don't have to go straight to the full body.
I have friends who are into the Lycra stuff, so I have a pair of like mountain biking shorts that I do exercise in. And I will take myself off on a lap of London on Saturday morning, like occasionally. But I have these Lycra, these mammal friends, as we are all rapidly approaching middle age, which is horrifying. And I thought I'll join them. And we did a couple of laps of Richmond Park, which is quite close to me. And it's beautiful. There's deer and there's lovely roads and there's a big hill that nearly killed me. And I realised on that day when I got home and I was just feeling decidedly rough that cycling was not the sport for me. It is a mode of transport and nothing else.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I like cycling, but not like I don't put the Lycra on. I just like it as like I'm going somewhere and seeing the world go by while getting exercise. I like that.
To put the Lycra on, you have to be very comfortable with people you know and people you don't know seeing the outline of your penis. Yeah. And I'm not that comfortable with that.
I understand. Nick Alain wants to know, where do you buy a used 911? He's frustrated because he's looking for 997s and there's like ... none for sale. I mean, look, Bring a Trailer is the obvious one, but also one of our sponsors, Autotempest.com, helps you find used cars all over the internet. It searches a bunch of sites at once. So you check out Autotempest.com. There's also a place called P-Car Market that just kind of got going out of New York. I know the guy who runs it. He's a good dude. They got a lot of Porsches there. 997-2s, they didn't build a lot of, and people who have them kind of like them.
Yeah,
tend to hold on to them.
As they should,
especially if you can find a GTS.
Yes, they are. There's two 997. There are two 997 GTSs on Bring a Trailer right now.
Buy one, keep it forever. If it's a manual, sell it in like 10 years for $1 billion.
Yeah. I removed all social media from my phone a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
No Instagram, no Twitter, no Facebook, no on my phone. No Reddit on my phone. Ooh. And I only use them from computers. I figured out how to get full access, including Instagram, from computer, and it's made my life immeasurably better in just 2 weeks. But the downside is that because I no longer have social media, I still have those moments where I want to look at my phone. So I am really into every listing on Bring a Trailer right now. Bring a Trailer is basically my social network.
Matt, you know your storage, your facility over there is for other people's cars, not just the ones you buy while you're bored.
Please come to Westside Collector Car Storage and put your car there before I do.
You'll just fill it.
Otherwise,
you need to download BRZO.
Let's see. Todd Friedman is sick of all the 9/11 questions. And so here's one of the opposite. If you could own or drive one variant of the McLaren F1, what would it be and why?
Literally any of them.
Any of them will do.
Any of them will do. Like, which supermodel would you like to take? I don't care. Any of them.
I have driven a standard LM for about 5 miles. And it was a glorious 5 miles. I didn't go very fast.
You don't need to.
But it was glorious. And I didn't know very much about cars compared to what I know now because it was a while ago. But I still get how special it was. I went for a ride with Ralph Lauren in the LM, the real LM, one of the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take that every fucking day, dude. Straight cut gears, V12 engine, and you have to put on air traffic controller headphones because the gear whine is so loud. It's so fucking jam.
I drove Don Wallace's F1, and it had all that stuff. And like back in like '97, it had the Philips GPS unit in it.
The Philips GPS,
8-bit pixelated GPS.
It just had an arrow that just turned.
It was insane. But that car was absolutely amazing, and I don't think that they make a bad version of that at all. If you can get behind the wheel of any of them, don't ever.
The shittiest McLaren F1 is $10 million.
Have you ever heard of someone going, well, the McLaren F1, I really like all of them, apart from that particular. That one was the bad one. No. It's just our good car. Any McLaren F1, I don't even I don't have to have the LM. You can have that one, Matt. I'll just have a regular Commodore Garden, 10 a penny McLaren F1.
I'm not a huge McLaren fan I don't think I'd ever own one myself. I mean, they're amazing cars to drive. That particular car, if you ever get a chance to spend some time with one, and this is for the listeners and the viewers out there, like the engineering behind that car, to look at the tolerances in the gaps, panel gaps, every single thing is beyond NASA quality. I've never in my life to this day seen a car that was so well built. So well built. And it floored me. I mean, I opened every door and took everything apart and did everything that you possibly could to look around that car.
Everything apart? How bad was the engine when you were done?
just like you open up where the luggage compartment is and to touch all the buttons inside. I mean, just everything. It was so well built. It floored me. But it's very cold. It's a very cold car.
So it's amazing, apart from the fact it has no feeling.
No personality. But that's what it's designed for. So, but yeah, it's a great car.
Let's see. Gearball is selling his V10 BMW M6 and is looking to get into a front-engine rear-drive sports car at the $50,000 to $60,000 range. He's looking at C7 Corvette Z06s. He's looking at Jaguar F-Type Rs, and he's wondering about those F-Type Rs. Is the rear-wheel drive better or worse to drive than the all-wheel drive?
So, if you like getting to your destination in your 550 horsepower Jaguar without being full of fear, then the all-wheel drive car is the one for you. If you like to live on the edge, the rear drive car is probably if you got that over here.
We did get the rear wheel drive car. We got it for a year and a half, and then they were like, people can't handle this.
Because it's like I learned to go sideways in a rear drive F-Type R, and oh boy, it will go like slightest provocation, just poke it and like, oh, we've got a bit of an angle on this, is great. I thing is, I would have that car any day of the week. Like when it comes time to take the Aston out round the back of the bin shed and shoot it in the face.
Yeller.
A rear drive F-Type. Like,
my favorite F-Type is actually the V6S manual rear drive, which is a rare car, tough to find. I went on the launch for it, and it was fantastic. It's a Getrag manual gearbox. It's the same as the M3 uses.
Yeah.
So the pedal and shifters feel just like an M3, which is a good thing. And you can't get I think you can't get, you might not even be able to get it anymore at all, but at the time you could only get the V8 in all-wheel drive, and this was the rear drive. So I have an F-Type. It's my mother's. It's a V6S coupe. It's an automatic. And
that gearbox
I'm driving
bad.
it. It's fine. I love it. I think it's a great car. I cruise around LA and it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I drive it.
So I was at the unveil of the new F-Type with the new face, and the man came onto the stage and he started talking about how the new car, they were kind of fixing the dimensions here and the spec here, and he went, there will not be a manual version of this new car. And it was basically like, you moaned so much, and 6 people bought them. You didn't buy it, you horrible people. But then it, like the demand for that car is people on the internet going, I want a manual, but it's also people going, I can't afford a new car. So they do not marry up. I never got a chance to drive it. The view from the journos back home was that the manual was a bit but if you like it, you like it.
I enjoyed the manual. I thought it was a nice car to drive. I thought it paired well with that engine. I thought it felt light and lively compared to the V8s, which are fast as fuck but do feel heavy. And kind of bouncy on bad pavement. The V6s ride better. But also for 50 to 60K, dude's question, C7 Z06 is a great call, or even a Grand Sport. I mean, a C7 Grand Sport is delightful.
It's a great car too.
An M3 or an M4, you're looking at, or even a brand new M2, you'd probably find to be pretty fun.
M2 I like. If you want an F-Type R, and if you can find a rear drive one, and you are, what I would do is, if you're not used to something quite as leery, see if you can get one for a bit less in your budget, and then take it to a track and learn it and learn it properly, because you can use those quite effectively everywhere, but they're dicey.
Chances are you're probably not as fast as that car can go.
No.
Yeah. And if you try, you're going to have a hell of a time.
You're going to find out that traction control doesn't necessarily stop physics from happening.
Right.
Such a great sounding car too.
Steve says, you're a classic late 20s dude with a stage 1 Mark 7 GTI. I have $40,000 to $45,000 used. What are the diamonds in the rough? I'm looking at a 2018 Volvo V60 Polestar, something offbeat that gives you the fizz.
The fizz. Ooh.
I think you could buy a pretty nice E39 M5 for $45,000. And that would give you the fizz.
That would give you the fizz. That would give you a big fizz a lot of the time.
You could get a used Cadillac CTS-V with a manual and 556 horsepower that would give you the fizz.
That would give me more than the fizz.
I think the E39 is going to give your wallet the fizz.
You could get a beautiful R32 Skyline GTR that would be mightily fizzy.
That cheap.
Actually, you can get an R33 now too.
You might. I don't know if 45K will get you into the kind you want a daily, but like a pretty decent one probably. If you want to go JDM, 45K is all the money in the world. 911s are reasonable. That'll get you into a 911.
You get yourself a decent 996 for that.
Yeah, but that's not off the beaten path.
V8 Vantages are off the. They're coming out. Today's V8 Vantage Day.
But
what else is kind of weird?
Buy one of those, but expect bills. Like bills.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not too bad, but if you're kind of like, I have this much and no more, bills.
How about, here's an offbeat one. I bet 45K gets you a bunch of SL63 Mercedes. Right?
There you go.
Do you spend a lot of your time at a golf club?
or C63, C63 for sure.
Yeah. SL's a little bit like, I eat dinner at 4:00 and I like playing golf.
Especially the new ones.
Also, SL in general stands for Sport Light, which means, light car. The thing weighs the same as the moon.
I can't argue. I cannot argue at all. Opera Matt wants to know, does the blinker stock of Alex's three-wheeler wiggle around like it's broken, and is it self-correcting? Self-canceling, excuse me.
It is self-canceling. It doesn't wiggle. I haven't driven it since September because it's cold in England. I went away for a month, so I just plugged it in and left it. I'm picking it up when I get home.
Nice.
Actually, I'm very excited. It's not wobbly. wobbly. It's not like noticeably wobbly. When I'm driving along, it doesn't like flap around like a scarf in the wind.
You know what kind of does that is my Countach. The blinker stock, it's like I have to be fucking ginger with it. I feel like I'm going to snap it right off.
Bing.
Yeah. It's probably fine, but it sketches me out.
No, it's
and is it self-canceling?
I think so.
You do use your blinker in the Countach more than any human being here in LA uses their blinker in anything else. It's very odd.
Because I can't see back there. I got to signal my intent.
Because the mirrors on that +4, they are largely useless. So I've been applying London driving rules to LA. Okay. So you look over your shoulder, you check to see you're not about to clatter anyone, you indicate, you wait, and 9 times out of 10 people just don't care. Like I'm indicating out, is anyone going to be nice?
No.
Is that person going to alert me to the fact that yes, they are aware? No, they don't care. People just swoop in front of you.
They don't know what the yellow blinking light is. They assume that half your hazard lights aren't working.
A dude the other day honked me because I thanked him. I was like, I swept in, there was plenty of space, everything was fine, I left enough space for the car in front, indicated through, and then he was like, screw you, like, oh man, come on.
Oh, God.
Let's see, Vlad says, Alex, who's your favorite press drive partner, and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. For about 5 years, I didn't really have one because we were filming on launches.
TVs, the TV wave. You get your own car.
Yeah, so we have our own car and we kind of do our own thing. So my old producer Nick was always fun. Charlie's fun. Matt Murray's fun. But as I think is I can't really. I've driven with so many different wonderful people, and I'm not sure who'll listen and then give me side eye if I don't say their name.
No one's listening anyway. Don't worry about
it. There are loads of people. There are people I actively avoid.
Yep.
I'm not going to name them either. But there some guys for their driving, some guys for their general demeanour, and one for their particular smell.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a blacklist as well, and I have a couple favorites that I really, and I'm not going to name either side of it. If you've driven with me on more than one press launch and you're out there, you're probably on the good list. I saw your name and I was like, yep, that guy's not going to kill me. We're good.
Just a cheeky text message. Hey man, I see you're on that launch. Do you want to drive together?
Yeah. I've actually had I've been thrown with some randoms before, and I've ended up in some pretty interesting conversations with folks I probably wouldn't normally talk to.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I don't feel like I'm going to die in the car either.
I've driven behind someone on a launch. I was kind of a last minute addition to it. I won't name the car because it will give it away, but this guy was, I could see that he was very keen to impress the press officer who just wanted the car to come back in the right shape. Because the press officer was in the car with me and we were watching this happen, just like, yeah, he's going to give you back 3/4 of a car in a minute. And then later in the day, we were waiting, and then the guy he was driving with, who had said, this bloke's a bit dodge, jumped in the car with me, said, come on, let's go for a spin, and just, I've never been more terrified in my life. Genuinely no. Sometimes you get, it's a risk of the job. Like, sometimes you get some genuinely sketchy people who are like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I'm a journalist, so I can go sideways. And then and you get some people who are like, I value my job and my life, so I'm not going to be a dick.
I'm definitely in the latter club. The next question is, Alex, what happened to the electric Morgan three-wheeler? And I actually have that question too. What did happen to the electric Morgan three-wheeler?
So the last I heard, because I don't work there.
But you're English and own a Morgan, therefore you are Charles Morgan.
Therefore I am
Aren't you on a special mailing list or something?
No.
Don't you? It's all the BBC talks about, right? Is the new Morgan.
Yes. Well, it's the BBC talks about the new Morgan and how the country is basically on fire all the time. Or flooding, or just bad. The last I heard about the electric three-wheeler was that it's been kind of put on ice. I'm not sure what happened.
I'm guessing they ran out of money or wood. We have to wait for the trees to grow for 3 more years before we can cut them down.
I think there's plenty
we miscalculated our forestry.
Well, I think the Home Depot closed.
I think it was the development because they had the initial concept and then they partnered with someone and then eventually just went, enough for now. I'm not sure what will happen. It would be a really cool thing. I wish I got to drive the concept, because that concept that you had on the screen works. Like it's a thing that works, and it does really big skids. And I've seen it a couple of times up at the factory, and just like, oh, that's so cool.
I would like them to make that. I think it'd be awesome.
I would be mega.
I was super excited when I went to the dealership and I saw that they are making the electric Vespa now and selling it here. And I was like, oh, this is exactly what I need, an electric Vespa. And then I went home and looked at the specs. I was like, top speed 37. I was like, the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
The push bike you turned up on today is almost as fast as that.
Basically,
with a longer range.
With a longer range. The bicycle I'm on today is, So like, what are we doing? What are we supposed to do with that?
And I bet the bike's like half the price as well.
The bike is... I bought a used Vespa 300 about a month ago.
Yeah.
The bike is $1,500 more expensive than the Vespa. I didn't buy the bike. I was gifted the bike by that manufacturer, Vintage Electric, and I didn't ask for it.
Yep.
There's no quid pro quo. I reviewed the first one. I said it was the coolest thing in the world.
Yep.
And they're like, we're going to get you the new model. And I thought they meant for a review.
Yeah.
And then he goes, here's the owner's manual and the warranty paperwork. And I go, for what? And he goes, this is yours now. And I go, this is a demo, right? And they go, no, this is yours. And I go, fuck out of here. And as it turns out, it was mine. It is mine. And so,
and it's
okay.
Awesome.
And it's rad.
It's so fucking cool.
It's crazy. I try to, I review things objectively, but I already reviewed this shit a year ago.
Yeah. And it's only
and
better.
one just showed up.
And it's only better than the one that we had, that you had first. Yeah.
Anthony says, thoughts on an AMG GT or GT. I can't see if it says AMG GTs or the AMG GTS as a first AMG car coming out of an M2. I mean, you're certainly starting at the top, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you're jumping straight in at the deep end with the single most phallic new vehicle you can buy today as well.
Now that the Viper is gone, Gianarelli's hot on their heels, though. It is a bit of a penis car.
It is, but I don't mind that.
I've only driven the S. And I thought it was nice. It was lovely.
The S and the R, and it's a good car. The only problem is, if you are a short person like me, you have to sit quite far forward, and there's like the to change the gear things, you have to reach quite far behind.
Oh, if you sit far forward, it's all of a sudden not in a good place.
You've got to kind of reach back. So if you do yoga, you're good. If you don't, you'll quickly do your shoulder in, or whichever side of the car you're driving on. I'm thinking from a UK side, but
I really like driving it, but the one thing I remember is every single time I started it, I had to press 5 buttons to get it into the right mode. The buttons sort of make this U-shape pattern around the shifter, and it was start and then around the U to get it into the right mode. It's like start, stop, off, sport mode, shocks out of death mode. You know what I mean? I'd have to do.
I want it to be comfortable, but I want it to be loud and fast and not do start stop. Why do you turn the start stop off?
I don't like using start-stop in very loud cars.
Yeah.
If it's a quiet car, it's just, all right, fine, no problem. But I don't like to sit at that light and go, wah, and fucking starts
Hello,
up
everyone.
again.
I'm here. Yes. Look, it's me.
I spent a few years at Lambo, and when the Aventador came out, we did the launch, and that had start-stop.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more embarrassing than rolling up to a light in an Aventador, and then it just shuts off, because everybody else assumes you stalled it.
Well, yeah.
And then you go to let up, and it starts.
Because everyone, without fail, wants the person in the fancy car to fuck up.
Oh,
yes,
like, absolutely.
I want you've done well for yourself. I want you to demonstrate to me that you're a fallible human being.
I want to laugh
something.
at your pain, sir.
Slip over on a banana skin. Go on, entertain me.
It's very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, Aston DB9 GT versus DB11.
DB9.
Ooh.
I would say DB9.
DB9.
I am not a DB11 fan. I am a DBS fan.
DBS,
but it's very expensive.
Very expensive, very wide.
Yes.
Very, very, and has, I think, it can't take its power.
No, it can't, but that's good.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It can't, but that's what makes it charming.
I think there's, for me, DB9.
And still, but Vantage over DB9, I think. DB9s don't really do a lot for me.
V12 Vantage S over
Yeah.
DB9?
Yes.
But for a car to cruise in, like DB9, So it was the first gen Vanquish and DB9 are two of the cars that made me fall in love with Aston Martin properly, because everyone grew up with DB5 going, oh look, it's James Bond's car, that's amazing. DB7 never did it for me. That
Vanquish is
and so that DB9 shape, the noise, the elegance of it, the kind of the way it moves, if it's not broken, is just it's intoxicating for me. So I would always plump for that over the DB11, because
that V12 with the manual gearbox is pretty good. And the cold start on that Vanquish is the shit. I wired the exhaust open on it. So when you cold start it, it cracks.
Excellent.
It's got a good crack to it. I prefer the DB9 as well. Yep. Last one before we get out of here. Alex is going to have nothing on this one. Sorry. Food and car things in L.A. with the girlfriend. We get this one a lot. The Peterson Museum is the obvious one. Yeah. Malibu Kitchen is my personal plug. My homie Bill's up in Malibu. Hang out on the porch, insult people, and get a sandwich.
Excellent. I should have done that yesterday when I was driving through Malibu.
That's the spot. You can go to Neptune's Net if you want to reenact the Fast and the Furious.
Personally, I mean, depending on what you're into car-wise, I say Donut Derelicts on Saturday is a classic car cruising. It's like classic muscle cars and
Bob's
custom,
Big Boy.
Yeah, one of those kind of things. I mean, but it's a tradition. It's like the first cars and coffee kind of the Donut Derelicts are the ones that kind of started the whole cars and coffee thing years and years and years ago, and they still do it every Saturday. But it's like your hot rod classic, California scene. But it's cool. It's cool.
It's the one thing I haven't done while I'm here is like, hey, cars and coffee. Yeah. How does that work?
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I wish I gave you like a schedule.
Well, because I landed.
They were happening.
I landed last Sunday. And then I immediately left for San Francisco. And then this Sunday, what day are we on today? It's Tuesday today.
No, today's Monday.
Today's Monday. So yesterday I was driving into town.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you would have missed it.
Somewhere.
Well, you would have missed it.
Yeah,
fine.
So
next time we'll do those rounds.
Next time, yeah.
The good news is, I mean, one of the best things about California is for us that's a year-round season.
Yeah.
So, and Porsche Experience Center. Go drive some cars. I mean, you can go do all kind of cool stuff there, and also just like, I mean, car things. It's more just the pervasiveness of car culture.
I mean, you literally could bounce from dealership to dealership if you really wanted. There's Pagani has a dealership.
Yeah,
in
go to the
Beverly
Pagani
Hills,
dealer in Beverly Hills.
I mean,
there is a Pagani dealer actually.
Is that?
Yeah, and they have inventory, which is interesting. There's 5. I was there the other day. There's 5 or 6 Paganis in inventory right now.
Was Zonda or Huayra?
There were Huayras. They were pretty much all Huayras. Yeah. Zondas are show and display in the U.S., so they were never federalized. So there's a couple of street legal ones around, but for the most part, Zondas are not U.S. legal. No airbags.
That's a great shame because they're really, really good.
No, there's a dude around who had 2 of them, and I don't want to even say the guy's name, and I don't think he's got them anymore, and I don't even know if they stayed in the U.S., but they were here under suspect circumstances.
Were they regularly shown and displayed at speed?
Do you know how show and display works? Like what the deal is with it? So
wasn't it like Bill Gates wanted a 959 or something like that?
Yeah,
so
he and Ralph Lauren together actually got down on that one
and went. So we can have it and we can register it, but only for show and display purposes.
Yeah, it's limited miles per year, and there were very specific rules on how rare the car could be. To be imported, like Skylines were not rare enough,
right?
But I guess a 959 or maybe a Zonda
it has some sort of historical significance.
Yeah,
like you would be bringing it in for a museum or for a show. You had to give a reason that this particular car, like you couldn't. It was the only one in the world, and you had to have it here, and you needed it for a reason here. You had to give a whole list of things, and it wasn't hard to come up with excuses for these guys that they had their cars.
Are you in the UK? What are the import laws? Can you import shit from other countries without?
Yeah, pretty much.
You can.
Yeah,
like brand new. Could I import a left-hand drive Corvette to the UK without much trouble, like a brand new one?
I mean, it'll cost you a bomb,
but it's doable.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, easy. No one really like. There's a few places. There's a guy. I can't remember his name. I think it's Bill Shepherd, I think, in the south, who does Mustangs, and he just brings in new Mustangs. So officially, we couldn't have GT3
like Shelby's, right?
Yeah. We couldn't have those, but he could make that happen. Like
Interesting.
I met a guy. There is one guy with a Charger Hellcat.
Nice.
It's an enormous car in the UK.
Well,
what a comical thing to be driving on a B road.
I met him, and I was in a Vanquish S, the last shape Vanquish S, and he went to me. He's like, he's the he approached me at a petrol station, and he went, "Oh, so how many horsepower's your car got?" And I said, "Oh, 620, whatever it was." I went, "I've got 707." I was like,
Sure you aren't American? Because you sound awful American.
yeah. I was just like, okay, man. But no, you can quite easily import stuff like that, like real easy.
That's
you
cool.
just have to pay.
For us, it's 25 years. Car's got to be 25 years old. Otherwise, if you can't get a show and display exemption, you're out of luck.
That was the reason I reviewed the Audi RS2 for Jalopnik last year.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can finally have them, and they're amazing.
Are they?
Oh man, if you like Boost. So what you do is you pull up to a junction, you go, okay, first gear, and you don't get much out of that, and second gear, you don't get much out of that, and you put it in third, and you just kind of roll along. It goes nothing. Oh god! And you just go back. It's Boost. The brakes are dreadful. The steering is meh, but the Boost is hilarious. And
My
it's
friend Doug is selling one on Bring a Trailer right now.
Buy
Doug
it.
from Switch Cars.
Buy it.
All those cars back from that era are like that, like the American cars, the Grand Nationals, and the if you remember the Typhoons and the Cyclones. You go to drive them, you're like, yeah, this doesn't. Oh my god, the turbo kicked in.
The turbo is kicked in.
Boosts.
Here it is, 94 Audi RS2. The bidding, there's 18 hours remaining, $29,000 it's at.
That is an absolute steal. If you want a good one of those back home, you're looking at 50, 60 now.
Are you?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it might no
yeah.
sale, but it's got the blue suede interior.
I mean, it's
white
the wrong,
gauges.
It's the wrong exterior color for that interior.
Yeah, black doesn't really do it for me, but it's 135,000 kilometers. And that's a longitudinal inline 5 turbo, 311 horsepower, 302 pounds of torque, all-wheel drive, Torsen center diff.
Wow.
And the boost.
And the boost. All
the boost.
It's so cool.
That's fucking
I
rad. Go
adore
buy
those
it. Buy
things.
it from Doug.
And let me drive it next time I'm here. Please.
Done.
Thank you.
Doug's out of Ohio. He's got some weird shit.
Yeah?
Doug buys weird shit.
Well, that's the best shit.
Yeah, he's got a whole fucking shop full of weird stuff. Like, let's see what Doug's got in stock. I'll just give Doug the free plug right now because he's gonna have some fucking strangeness in stock. So R8 6-speed. He's got good driver's cars. He's a real driver.
Is that a V8 manual R8?
That is a V8 manual R8.
So the
yes.
best. So he's got the best
$63,000. Yeah.
So he's got.
And
the
then
best
he's got a Spider, 86,000 V8 manual R8 M3
the
coupe.
second best R8.
Exige 260, Porsche 930, but he's got
a manual Mercy on there too.
Manual Mercy, Cayenne diesel, WRX track car, Toyota Sun Chaser. He buys some really strange stuff. Panos AIV Roadster. He sold it. Yes. Good job, Doug.
What is that?
It's a Panos.
It looks like something out of a cartoon in the 80s.
It's a cartoon Caterham. Basically, it's a bulbous 90s Caterham. So underneath that bulbous bonnet is a 4-cam 32 valve 4.6 liter Mustang Cobra engine.
Wow.
And gearbox and power. It's a full Mustang Cobra powertrain with basically a Caterham body on it. It's 320 horsepower.
It looks like it would be in a cartoon and communicate only via honks. And they'd be like, "Of course, boy."
Yeah.
2,500 pounds and a 305 horsepower V8. They built 176 of them over 3 years.
I wonder why they sold so poorly.
They were in the back of fucking DuPont Registry every month, man. Every month.
Oh.
What do you want to plug before you get out of here, Alex? Just your gram?
Me? I don't know. Read things if you wish to read of exploits on my various social feeds. Twitter and Instagram are the same. A1GOY.
Perfect. Thanks for coming in, dude. I'm glad you could make it.
Thank you for having me,
My
chap.
pleasure.
I've been looking forward to this for a very long time.
The invite is, of course, open. You will return every time you are in the United States.
Even if I'm only going to New York, do I have to fly over?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do. Follow me on the gram. You know the drill. Follow us on YouTube. There's videos coming out. The week of the 25th, there's only going to be one podcast for 2 weeks because we're going out of town. And so rather than taking a whole week off We're going to do 2 weeks of one show instead of 2 shows a week.
Are
right?
you having some time to yourself? Are you having some R&R?
Tell anybody. You're not allowed that. You're not allowed.
How dare you?
Don't tell anybody, but I'm going to Tahiti.
Nice.
I'm literally. I'm out. Thank you all for listening. For the live folks, we have Dan Edmonds of Edmonds. The Dan Edmonds is coming in studio tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. And then we have motocross rider turned rally driver Brian Deegan will be in studio on Wednesday. So those are our 3 shows live this week before I go to Tahiti. Thank you. Alex Goy, you're the man.
Thank you very much.
A1 Goy on the gram, folks. Vinny Russo. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Always.
Zachary will be back with us tomorrow. Until then, the Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, and ideally, something to say. See y'all later.